Now, the management of the JOSPONG Group of companies has described government's recent takeover of the Great Consolidated Diamonds Ghana Limited over contract breaches as unlawful. According to the company, the facts presented by government for the seizure are inaccurate and a misrepresentation of the terms of the agreement executed between the parties. In a statement copied to JoyNews, the company said, quote, "The action of the State Interest and Governance Authority is illegal, unconstitutional and regrettable in a nation that is governed by the tenets of democracy." Let's get some details. Sophia Lisa is a group head of communications at JOSPONG Group of companies. He joins us here. First of all, she joins us here. Sophia, thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
So give us a background for those who have not followed the conversation. Give us the brief background about really what the problem is or what the story is.
Okay.
Yes.
So on 18th, which is Thursday last week, we had the information that some military, police and BNI people led by the State Interest and Governance Authority had taken over, Aquantia mines. And there was a story also in the graphic on Friday speaking to that issue. But our story is that the people, they went there, took the phones of the people on the grounds, the security guys, and then went to homes, and any car that came in, they seized it and all that, So they just entered the facility, seized every asset, and then said they had taken over and that they have put in place a new management. And we felt that was a bit uncomfortable and a bit unfortunate, because Aquatia Diamond was put on the Divestiture Implementation Committee, and the JOSPONG Group, through the Ghana Consolidated Diamond, Company Limited, bought it, off government. That's in 2011, and we've been running it till now. And there are laid down procedures. There is a sales and purchasing agreement that is guiding this particular, transaction. So you would expect that this will be followed. Now, in April this year, we had a letter from the DIC, which is the main organization that we're dealing with on this particular issue, stating that they wanted to abrogate this contract with us. And we said, no, you cannot just abrogate it, because there are laid down procedures.
Why did they want to abrogate the contract? What did they say?
Well, they raised a couple of issues, including the fact that we have not completely finished paying the 17 million that the facility was sold for. So they wanted to abrogate that transaction. But then we said that that is not what was detailed in the sales and purchase agreement. So we took it to court for the court to, come in and determine what should be done.
Okay.
And the government also raised a statement of defense for this particular issue. So for us, the issue is in court, and we expect that the court will come out with the final determination, and then we will know the way forward. But whilst this is going on, and if you go in with military, like that to take over, it's a bit uncomfortable, because
but Mr. Samuel Boateng has been speaking. He's actually had indicated that this matter is not in court, as you say.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Maybe he hasn't checked. I don't know where he's coming from, that he's saying that there is no case in court. But I'm sure if he checks with the Attorney General's department, which is supposed to be the government, department that defends the government in issues of legalities, he will know that there is a statement, there is a writ that was served them, and the Attorney General's department responded with a statement of defense to the court.
So have you been in court on this matter and had the defendants as well?
It is in court at the moment, and the court is they have raised their defense. So we are yet to go to court to finalize the conversation.
So you have not yet gone to court?
It is in court.
It is in court, and the writ has been served?
The writ has been served, and the Attorney General's department has raised its defense.
Okay. So you said that the DIC wrote to you and said that they wanted to abrogate this contract that they had with you, and it's because there was some amount of 17 million that you were supposed to have paid. In the statement that you released, and this is point 3, it says refurbishment of the Akwatia mine and hospital. Management states that since the acquisition of the mine, millions of dollars have been invested into the mine, which had been completely run down at the time of acquisition. In the development plan to revive the mine to full-scale operations, we have undertaken numerous feasibility studies and development activities amounting to over $20 million. And then you go on to also talk about the GCDGL and its strategic partners have reached an advanced stage to execute a $50 million investment to operationalize the mine, of which a memorandum of understanding has been signed. Yes. But if you have not finished paying the amount involved in the transaction, the initial transaction, how do you go on and invest all of these amounts and use that as the reason why the contract cannot be abrogated? Okay,
so there are a lot of conversations going on between us and government. Government owes us, this GCDL is a subsidiary of the JOSPONG Group, and government owes the JOSPONG Group of companies some amount of money pertaining to other companies. So we have had that conversation with them to use some of that money to offset this kind of debt.
This debt that you owe for taking for the Akwatia mine.
Exactly, and that is a conversation that is captured on paper, and they are aware. So that conversation is going on, and until we have concluded that conversation, we feel that we can't let the mine also be there like that. So we have to do what is possible to make sure that the mines continues to run. At least for the staff that are there, we should be able to take care of them.
So if this agreement is on paper, why then do you not exhaust that but go ahead and go to court? Because as you're saying, you've gone to court over this matter.
Yes.
So you already have an outstanding understanding, if you like, on paper. So certainly there's something going on between you and government. So why didn't you exhaust that avenue before you went to court?
We are not the ones that took it. It's the government that wrote. It's the abrogation letter that caused us to go to court.
That caused you to go to court.
Yes.
So what are the outstanding issues right now? As it stands now, you say that you spent. If you're looking at it, it's getting to about, you're about to execute a $50 million investment. Yes. You said you've so far spent $20 million on rehabilitation, etc.
All sort of things, feasibility studies, other developments, running the hospital, and other, facilities there.
So where do you go from here? This court case sounds like it's stalled a bit, would you say?
I wouldn't say it is stalled. When you send an issue to the court, they also have to do their own investigations before they finally come up with something. So we're just waiting for the courts, which is a competent court in Ghana, to make their determination. Then we'll know the way forward. So for us, we think we just want to wait for the courts to come out with their determination of this case. Then we'll go forward. But our stance is that it's quite unfortunate that in this day and age, you use military to go and take over a privately owned company, and this is a company that was bought. So in effect, it's ours.
So if they wrote to you and they said they want to abrogate it, and they gave you evidence, they gave you documents to the effect that it's been abrogated. I mean, of course, you could sue after that. But if they give you documents to prove that they've abrogated the contract, then it means that they felt that they had the right to come and take over.
That's an illegality, because this contract, whatever it is being governed by a document.
So are you taking this matter on? I mean, are you suing for this unlawful possession of your property, as you put it?
At the end of the day, because it's in court, I think that even we commenting on it too much might amount to contempt of court. And so for us, we will leave it to the judges and the legal luminaries to take care of this, because it's a clear indication of illegality. There is a document that is guiding this relationship, and that document spells out how things should be done. So when an issue has been raised, and we have said that, look, it is the court that interpret some of these things. So we send it to court, and the court is working on it. And you go out of your way to just go and take over in a kind of Rambo style kind of, takeover. Then it's a bit unfortunate.
Well, we haven't seen that yet.
We want the court to have its own. What do you want to see?
No, we haven't seen
the military on the ground.
No, that's your report. That's your report.
No,
so we need to make that clear.
They themselves reported it. It was in the graphic.
Well, fair enough. But we still need to. That's your report.
Problem.
That's what your report as far as what happened at your premises.
That is what
is
has
concerned.
Yes.
So for now, your approach is to wait for
the court
to go through the
yes,
process.
A competent court of jurisdiction in this country to make a determination of the case. Then we'll take it up from there.
Okay. So I mean that's a JOSPONG group of companies there. We're talking about the what they're calling government's hostile and illegal takeover of the Akwatia mine. I've been talking to Sophia, like you said, they're waiting for government to, they're waiting for the court to make a determination on that matter. But they're also alleging that military officials and BNI officials actually took over or went in to take over the Akwatia mines, which is their private property. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much, my dear.
All right, we'll keep our eyes on that story. We'll update you as and when there's any new development.